Most people live inside a silent agreement, an unspoken faith in fairness. They believe if they follow the rules, they will be rewarded. If they are kind, the world will be kind in return. This belief runs deep, taught in childhood, reinforced by stories, defended by the masses. But underneath it all is a brutal contradiction. Those who rise to power rarely follow the same code they preach. The system is not broken. It's functioning exactly as designed for those who understand that fairness is a performance, not a principle. You keep waiting for justice. You think effort leads to outcomes. You think if you're good, you'll win. That's your first mistake. You've confused structure with fairness, as if society is a moral machine instead of a stage. You don't realize that most outcomes are decided long before the game begins, not by skill, not by goodness, but by control. Control of perception, control of narrative, control of people. You're not losing because you're weak. You're losing because you believe the rules apply to everyone equally. You've been trained to think fairness is power. It's not. It's bait. It's what predators feed to the herd to keep them docile. You've been taught to be moral, even when morality is used against you. You hold back your anger. You explain your intentions. You stay visible, predictable, clean. But while you play honest, others play smart. They study the room, not the rules. They smile while they position the knife. And when the moment comes, they don't hesitate, because they don't ask, "Is this fair?" They ask, "Does this give me control?" There is no reward for your goodness, only expectations. And the more you give, the more they expect. You think loyalty will be remembered. It won't. You think your patience will be repaid. It won't. Power isn't about being chosen. It's about being undeniable. Machiavelli didn't write for the pure of heart. He wrote for the cold of mind. He knew he who is deceived will always find someone willing to deceive him. And that's what you've been, deceived by your own need to believe the world is kind. Stop asking why it's unfair. Stop crying over the silence. Stop expecting applause for what you've suffered. The game doesn't reward pain. It exploits it. You've been told to wait your turn, but power doesn't wait. It moves. Quietly, forcefully, without permission. If someone less capable has what you deserve, understand this. They took it. They didn't earn it. They played while you prayed. They acted while you hoped. They adapted while you obeyed. The difference isn't fate. It's philosophy. So kill the craving to be seen as good, the craving to be liked, the craving to be understood. These are chains disguised as virtues. You don't need to be soft to survive. You need to be sharp, sharp enough to cut through illusion, sharp enough to walk into a room and know exactly who is being used, who is playing, and who is winning. You've spent years building character. Now build presence, build silence, build the kind of power that doesn't explain itself. This world won't meet you halfway. It never did. It smiles while it punishes you for your honesty. It rewards noise, not truth, strategy, not purity. And that's why you must change. Not your values, your methods. Speak less, watch more. Strike only when the cost of inaction is higher than the risk of exposure. If fairness was real, it wouldn't need to be defended. It would enforce itself. But the fact you have to keep demanding it means it was never real. Power starts when illusions end. The sooner you kill your fantasy, the sooner you'll stop bleeding for it. You are not here to be protected. You're here to evolve. And that evolution begins with one shift. Stop asking, "Is this fair?" Start asking, Does this serve my power or threaten it? Most people fear the obvious threat, the raised voice, the dominant stance, the overt demand. But true danger rarely shows its teeth. In social ecosystems, the predator doesn't roar. It observes, adapts, and waits. Power, in its purest form, thrives under a disguise, and the person you least suspect is often the one scripting your downfall. You already know how to be loud. You already know how to chase validation. But that's why you're weak. Power doesn't announce itself. It whispers. If they expect anger, give them calm. If they expect resistance, nod in silence. If they're looking for a rival, hand them your smile. The moment you stop trying to be noticed is the moment you become dangerous. You've been taught to be sincere, but sincerity is a weapon, just not for you. When you wear your heart on your sleeve, they see your target zone. Your honesty becomes a roadmap to your insecurities. But when you wear a mask, they see nothing, and nothing is terrifying. You're not lying. You're shaping perception. That's strategy. And as Machiavelli said, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. That's not deception. That's survival. People love roles. They beg for categories. They feel safe when they can place you in a box. Agreeable, soft-spoken, loyal, naive. That's where your advantage lives. Because the moment they assign you a harmless label, they stop watching your hands. They stop guarding their plans. They leave the door open. And that's when you walk through it. Never challenge their perception. Feed it. Become it. Let them believe in their fiction until it serves your purpose to destroy it. The listener mask is your first weapon. When you say less, people project more. Their need to be understood will make them over-explain. And in their monologues, they expose their fears. They reveal the cracks. While they think you're empathetic, you're mapping their weaknesses. They talk, you listen. But only one of you is collecting ammunition. The servant mask is even more powerful. People confuse submission with obedience. If you act helpful, they assume loyalty. If you show up when they're in need, they assume emotional debt. What they never question is why. And that's where the game turns. By serving them, you make yourself invisible until the moment you pull the rug out from beneath their delusions. There is no betrayal more devastating than one that comes from beneath them. Then comes the fool, the underestimated, the overlooked, the one they laugh at, talk over, dismiss. But under the surface, you're watching everything. They mock your silence, but you're counting their flaws. They ignore your presence, but you're memorizing their hierarchy. And one day, when their guard is down and their power is brittle, you strike, and they'll never understand how you got so close. Because you were never even on their radar. You think power is confrontation. It's not. It's patience. It's invisibility. It's the mastery of emotional disguise. A mask isn't a lie. It's a container. It holds back the truth until it's sharp enough to be used. And if you're playing your role right, they'll never even know it was you who orchestrated their collapse. So ask yourself, who do they think you are? What do they assume about you? That's the script you use to trap them, mirror their expectations, perform their fantasy, make them comfortable in your presence. And while they lower their weapon, you sharpen yours in silence. Don't crave recognition. Don't show strength. Power isn't earned through noise. It's seized in the absence of resistance. When they've convinced themselves that you're nothing more than background, that's when you become lethal. That's when the mask falls. And by the time they realize who you are, it's already too late. Reputation in social hierarchies is not managed through facts or moral clarity. It's shaped through perception, and perception favors the one who appears unmoved. In the psychological arena, the act of defending oneself creates the illusion of guilt. It signals vulnerability, not virtue. And in that moment, power quietly transfers to the accuser. You feel the heat when they question you. It's a reflex to clarify, to justify, to clear your name. But every word you utter under pressure tightens the noose. They watch your reaction, not your answer. And when you speak too soon, you've already told them where your weakness lives. Power doesn't explain, it repositions. The truth is, most accusations don't require an answer. They require control. When someone questions your integrity, they aren't looking for facts. They're testing your frame. And if you step into their frame, you've already accepted their authority. That's the trap. The only way out is to shift the entire game. As Machiavelli wrote, it is not essential to have all the good qualities. It is essential to appear to have them. Don't become the narrative. Manipulate it. Your silence makes them paranoid. Your calm makes them suspicious. And that's exactly where your advantage begins. Because when people can't get a reaction, they start to wonder if they're wrong. Doubt creeps in, not because you disproved them, but because you refuse to dance to their rhythm. Power lies in the man who doesn't flinch when struck. Control is about questions, not answers. Deflect. Redirect. If someone challenges your motives, ask about theirs. If someone doubts your actions, make them explain their expectations. Put them on the defensive with poise, not anger, not protest, just cold curiosity. Make them feel the spotlight they tried to throw on you. The moment you defend yourself, you give them your center. You turn your own name into a negotiation. But if you keep your stillness, if you let their accusations echo unanswered, the burden shifts. They have to prove themselves. They have to justify the energy they've wasted trying to unsettle you. Every explanation is a confession. You're revealing what matters to you. You're handing them the emotional map of your insecurities. Instead, let your silence provoke discomfort. Let their minds scramble to fill the blanks. And when you do speak, speak only to confuse, not to clarify. Control the interpretation, not the facts. You want to feel understood. That's your weakness. Understanding is for the powerless, those begging for acceptance. But the powerful don't chase being seen. They remain a mystery. Their strength comes from being unreadable, unshaken, unreachable. You don't owe anyone your truth. The more you reveal, the more they control. The game isn't played in explanations. It's played in framing. Define what the conversation is really about. If they attack your intentions, raise the stakes. Make the issue about principle. If they mock your silence, make it about dignity. Turn every confrontation into a mirror. Force them to face themselves while you remain invisible. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't protest. Let your actions stand without context. Let your presence say what words cannot. And if they insist on clarity, give them ambiguity, a smirk, a raised eyebrow, a pause long enough to make them question everything. That's not avoidance. That's command. Machiavellian power is quiet. It doesn't scream for justice or truth. It doesn't collapse under accusation. It flows around it, cold and calm. While others waste breath defending themselves, you let the world spin around your stillness. Because in that stillness, you're not just controlling perception, you're owning reality. So next time they corner you, say nothing. Let them fill the silence with their own noise. Let them reveal their intentions. Let them overstep. And while they scramble to make sense of your calm, you've already won, not by being right, but by refusing to need to be. Most relationships are built on illusion, a silent contract of mutual need disguised as connection. One offers support, the other offers validation. But beneath the surface, dependence always flows in both directions. This is where power dissolves. The moment you require something in return, you become vulnerable. You become predictable, and predictability is death to control. They crave your presence more than they admit, and you sense it. That flicker in their eyes when you pull away, that tightness in their voice when they need your approval. This is your leverage, not love, not trust, just need. You don't have to command them. They follow because losing you feels like losing a part of themselves. You become the axis around which they spin. Slowly, you learn what they lack: certainty, protection, guidance, or just someone who doesn't collapse emotionally, and you offer it in calculated doses. As Machiavelli observed, men must be either cajoled or eliminated. Dependency is a quieter version of elimination. It erodes their independence while feeding their loyalty, not to you, to their own survival through you. Power is never about how much you feel. It's about how much you can withhold. You listen without needing to speak. You show up without needing to be seen. You provide without needing praise. This makes you irreplaceable. And when people feel you don't need them back, they panic. They try harder. They submit without realizing. Emotional distance is your fortress. You don't beg for understanding. You don't open up just to feel heard. Because the moment they think you need them, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they have a weapon. But when they see that nothing they do affects your core, no mood change, no shift in rhythm, they know they're orbiting a gravity far colder than love. You become their mirror, their stabilizer, their silent authority. And yet, you remain untouched. Their dependence is visible. Yours is invisible because it doesn't exist. That's why they'll never control you. You are the one who steps away when things get emotional. You're the one who pauses instead of confessing. You feel the pull, but you never follow it. They will offer attachment, closeness, reciprocity, but you will keep them slightly starving, just enough to keep their need alive, but never enough to feel safe. That tension, that quiet hunger, becomes the leash. You don't pull it. You don't have to. They do it to themselves. Power belongs to the one who supplies the craving without sharing the hunger. While others trade favors for closeness, you trade silence for influence. While they depend on reassurance, you remain undefined. Because the second you need them, even for a moment, the illusion dies, and with it, your control. So never explain your detachment. Let them call it cold. Let them call it cruel. But watch how they never walk away. Because deep down, they know, in needing nothing from them, you've already won everything. People fear force, but they underestimate silence. In every room, the loudest voice draws attention and scrutiny, but the quiet ones become invisible, mistaken for passive observers. That's the trap. Most reveal themselves to those they don't perceive as threats. And the moment they believe no one's watching, they expose everything worth knowing. They talk, and you listen, not to respond, but to dissect. While they search for validation, you search for weakness. Their stories aren't entertainment. They're intel. Every word is a thread, and you follow each one until the entire structure of their psyche is mapped out. You know what they fear, You know what they crave, and you say nothing. Because saying nothing gives you everything. You nod while they confess sins they swore they'd never share. You give no judgment, no interruption, just space, and they fill it. Not because you're trustworthy, but because you've made yourself emotionally invisible. They don't see you as a danger, but that's the point. As Machiavelli understood, it's better to appear foolish and be feared later than to seem wise and inspire caution. Silence makes people relax, and relaxed people reveal their weak spots. Your questions are blades dressed as feathers. How did that feel? What happened next? Why do you think they did that? They don't know you're cutting. They think you're curious, but you're constructing a psychological profile with every nod, every pause, every glance that tells them, go on. You never challenge. You never shift attention back to yourself, because your power comes from what they give away, not what you show. And when they ask about you, you deflect, you joke, you redirect. Vulnerability is their drug, not yours. You've learned that the moment they know something real about you, the game shifts. Control bleeds, leverage dulls, so you remain undefined. They think they're close to you, but they only know the version of you that keeps them talking. Over time, you carry an arsenal built from their secrets. Who lies under pressure, who betrays for attention, who folds when isolated, and none of them suspect you because you've weaponized their comfort. They remember how safe they felt around you. But safety is not love, it's bait. You never threaten. You never remind them of what they told you. You just wait until the moment your silence becomes their prison. That's when information becomes a blade, not swung in anger, not thrown in revenge, just placed gently at the right throat, at the right time. And that's when they realize who you really are. Because in a world of noise, the one who speaks least rules the most. Most people trust what's visible. They assign character based on smiles, gestures, and words spoken in daylight. But surface morality is easy to fake. The real game is played beneath it, in silence, in strategy, and in acts no one ever sees. And those who confuse appearance with reality become pawns to those who've learned to separate the two. You present warmth, but you feel nothing. You nod in agreement, but your mind is already elsewhere. Measuring, calculating, preparing. Your kindness is not compassion. It's cover, a necessary veil to hide what you're really building. People praise your integrity, admire your calm, but they have no idea what it costs to maintain the mask or what it protects. Because while they believe in the light, you show them your power grows in the dark. They'll never understand. You understand one thing clearly. Perception is armor. You play the role they need to see. The thoughtful friend, the principled colleague, the moral leader, not because you believe in the image, but because they do. And their belief is what gives you room to act. As Machiavelli taught, it's not enough to be feared or loved. You must be perceived as safe, because when you are perceived as safe, no one guards themselves from you. And that's when you're most dangerous. You speak about loyalty while you test it. You advocate for peace while you plan your leverage. You celebrate teamwork while quietly replacing the weak links. There is no contradiction, only strategy. You say what stabilizes others, but your private world is built on movement, contingency, and control. You remove what slows you. You discard what exposes you. And when necessary, you destroy. Gently, quietly, without leaving a trace. The people around you are not stupid, just comforted. They don't question your actions. Because your words pacify them. You say the right things. You support the right causes. You apologize when expected, and they confuse performance with character. That confusion is your camouflage. They never see the ambition beneath your stillness. They never sense the blade behind your smile. And they never suspect that while they sleep peacefully in your presence, you're deciding their fate. Your power doesn't come from being seen as strong. It comes from being underestimated. The mask you wear isn't weakness. It's insulation. It shields your private ambition from public judgment. It lets you make the coldest moves without scrutiny. And it ensures that when you strike, no one saw it coming because they believed you were incapable of such things. And that belief is the deadliest lie of all. So, you cultivate it. You shape your image with care. You say less, but when you speak, it's moral. You act quiet, but every silence is calculated. You help others, but only when it positions you. And this duality, this contrast between your appearance and your essence, is what makes you untouchable. Because while they see a saint, you operate like a shadow. Most people are taught to adapt, to suppress their edge, to blend in, belong, and be accepted by the tribe. This instinct once meant survival, but in the modern world, it means obedience. And obedience, when unchecked, becomes submission. The more a man conforms, the more he forgets his own shape, until he no longer acts. He only responds. And that is where power dies. You've always felt it. The quiet sickness of sameness, the way people cling to each other not out of love, but fear. They fear being alone, being different, being judged. And so they dilute themselves, watering down their thoughts, smiling through insult, nodding through lies. They live not to rule, but to be ruled gently. And if you've ever tried to fit in with them, you know the cost. You shrink, you suffocate, you become a ghost inside your own body. You are not one of them. You were never meant to be. Your mind doesn't settle. It calculates. Your silence isn't weakness. It's surveillance. And the more you study the world, the more you understand what they refuse to admit. There are no rewards for being good, no mercy for being kind, no safety in being loyal. There is only power, and power belongs to those who are willing to stop asking for it. You don't need their approval. You don't crave their applause. You walk alone, not because you're lost, but because you've stopped following. They call that arrogance, coldness, narcissism. Let them. Their insults are just proof that you've escaped the frame they were trapped in, because deep down, they know it too. Real power doesn't come from being included. It comes from being untouchable. You no longer explain yourself. You don't justify your ambition. You don't soften your success. You've learned that every time you flinch to make others comfortable, you betray yourself. So now, you move differently. You say less. You observe more. You strike without warning. And as Machiavelli wrote, power isn't granted. It's taken, not with noise, but with precision. You are transforming. No longer the one who studies strategy, but the one who embodies it. You don't imitate dominance. You radiate it in your stillness, in your refusal to react, in your control of the room without demanding it. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to bend reality around your will. And that begins the moment you stop apologizing for being sharper than them. They want you visible, emotional, explainable. You give them none of it. Let them guess. Let them project. Let them misunderstand you. That confusion is your shield. Their comfort is their prison. And their morality, a leash. You stay unseen. You operate in silence. And every decision you make is sharpened by one goal: to never again need their world. You aren't cruel. You're focused. You aren't detached. You're precise. There's a difference between being evil and being exact. You've simply realized that in a world built on illusions, clarity is the ultimate rebellion, and you've stopped waiting for permission to act. You don't want peace. You want control, not over others, but over yourself. And in that self-mastery, no one owns you. They will call you broken. They will say you've lost your humanity, but they don't understand. This is your humanity, not the watered-down version they sell, but the raw, unfiltered version forged by survival. You were born to rise above the herd, not comfort it. And now, you don't flinch when you win. You don't pause when you're feared. You don't smile to make others feel safe. You just move, cleanly, quietly, without looking back. This is not about becoming a monster. It's about becoming free. Free from guilt. Free from the need to be understood. Free from the chains of emotional obligation. The Machiavellian doesn't hate the world. He simply refuses to kneel before it. And now, so do you.